recent Raiders addition will fight for the team's starting spot. Will Antonio Pierce know how to manage this dispute? It is hopeful that this player will be able to adapt immediately, otherwise, it will be a great disappointment. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you are interested in subjects involving the Raiders. With one of the best running backs in franchise history leaving the Las Vegas Raiders as a free agent this summer, the Raiders had to bring another one back. They trust Zamir White, who had some crazy games last season when Josh Jacobs was injured. However, just because they trust him doesn't mean they shouldn't hire another guy. So the Raiders signed former Minnesota Vikings running back Alexander Mattison, who started for the Vikings all of last season and was Dalvin Cook's backup in previous years. So, he has experience as a starter for a team, but he also has experience as a reserve. We're not 100% sure Zamir White will be the starter in Week 1, but I can safely say he'll likely take the first snap. That's nothing against Mattison either. But White is their guy, and he's the guy Antonio Pierce wanted last season when the passing game just wasn't there. That said, that doesn't mean Mattison can't win the starting job. This isn't about him trying to beat Josh Jacobs as the starter, which seems impossible because Jacob has proven himself to be one of the best defenders in the league. No, White is still unproven. And you might think that White has an advantage in the offensive system. No, he doesn't. In fact, there shouldn't be a learning curve with Mattison, who is joining a new team. This scheme is very similar to the one he ran in Minnesota. Yeah, a little bit. I definitely understand the system. It's basically a mix of my first 3 years in the league, Mattison said earlier this offseason. The Clint and Gary Kubiak, Kevin Stefanski, and then mixing it up with Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips. It's a great mix of them. Really just the terminology, getting familiar with it, labeling certain routes with a different term than that I'm used to. But it definitely helped to have familiarity with the system. That Y zone is very hard to stop. Definitely, as long as the O-line is running, the running backs are on our tracks and stay true to our aiming points. It's one of those things that can terrify a defense, so I'm excited about that part. The Raiders are running an entirely new scheme in 2024 than they were in 2023. Even when Antonio Pierce took over as interim head coach, the Raiders were still running Josh McDaniels' offense. This offseason, they hired Luke Getsy as offensive coordinator, as he held the same role with the Chicago Bears last season. The offense they will run in 2024 is what Mattison is used to. The biggest differences will probably be the terminology, something that can be difficult to get used to. And he will have to learn the tendencies of the attacker in front of him. Other than that, the learning curve shouldn't be that big for Mattison. In fact, he should adapt immediately.